Following the general's arrest during the opening of his new bar casino in the finale, courtesy of FBI agent Stacy Beale, he's since been released on a cool $3 million bail, meaning he needs to be on his very best behavior, or seemingly so. But that's not going to be easy following the arrival of not one, but two new players who are certain to drag him into a brutal dogfight that will not only threaten Dwight and his empire, but everyone he cares deeply about. During a fundraising event hosted by ranch owner Margaret Devereux in Season 2's opening episode, he comes face-to-face with Cal Thresher. The character was described as a powerful and extremely territorial businessman in Tulsa when his casting was first announced, and that absolutely proved to be the case during the hostile exchange. Moments after the events of the first season finale, Back in the Saddle premieres. After being imprisoned, Dwight the General Manfredi meets Harlan Thibodeaux, who has amassed over $12 million by deceiving the authorities with his energy plant. After hearing Harlan's statements, the former Mafia leader takes them seriously as a business idea. When he returns to the Bread $2 saloon, his allies debate who should take over as interim boss. Tyson Mitchell, Armand Manny Truizzi, and Dennis Goody, Karanji quarrel over who would be the best group leader. After that, Dwight is taken before a court, who requests $3 million in order to grant his bail. As Dwight finds it difficult to meet the enormous demand, Tina Manfredi Grieger, his daughter, steps in. She claims she can rely on her unmortgaged home to cover her father's bail. The daughter of the former Mafia capo is not prepared to leave him or fade into thin air, despite the rift his imprisonment causes between them. Following his release from custody, Dwight appears at Bread $2. Mitch receives a warm reception from his cousin Michael, popularly known as Bigfoot. The man is hired by the New Yorker to bolster his army. Meanwhile, he discovers that two ATF officers are tracking him for unclear reasons. When Dwight approaches the ATF agents, they advise him not to harm Stacy because she has turned against him. Then he pays her a visit and expresses his obvious rage at her for believing he would brutally hurt her. Additionally, the New Yorker visits Margaret Devereux at her Fenario ranch, where he meets Spencer together with Pilot, his most valuable asset. Margaret extends an invitation to him to attend a fundraiser organized by Cal Thresher, Oklahoma's most well-known producer of medical marijuana. In addition, he stops in Even Higher Plane, Body's new store, to observe how far his partner has come since joining him. Following the discussion, he requests that Tyson take the boys suit shopping so they can represent him at the event. Cal Thresher's fundraiser has Dwight's partners confused. Grasshoppers and pigeons on sticks are the results of Tyson's hunt for ribs. Margaret presents Thresher to her intermittent lover, who seem to enjoy their time together. Dwight wants to be friends with his host because he wants to be a major figure in the cannabis business. In order to boost his output, he hopes to establish energy plants as recommended by Harlan Thibodeaux and utilize the energy generated to power weed plants. He believes that he will only benefit from his possible friendship with Thresher. But Thresher views Dwight as a rival, and he makes it clear that he cannot stand the kind of person the latter is. Dwight is viewed by Thresher as a criminal who is beneath him and not deserving of a place in his world. The former Mafia boss is infuriated by the treatment and exits with his partners, including Armand Manny Truizzi, who caused a ruckus at the earlier event. Manny is having a hard time getting over his wife leaving him with the kids because he won't leave the problems his boss causes at home. Charles Chicky Invernizzi, meanwhile, is furious at the disdain he encounters from the Mafia factions. There have been doubts about his ability to govern the Invernizzi family ever since Dwight turned against him. Jerry informs Chicky that there are rumors circulating among the families that the latter is not strong enough to follow his father, Pete the Rock Invernizzi, particularly in light of the fact that he was unable to find a satisfactory solution to the dilemma with Dwight. Chicky chooses to kill one of his own in order to deliver a message to the former Mafia boss and his henchmen. After calling Goody and forcing him to hear Jerry's cries, he shoots the man to death. Dwight returns to the Mayo Hotel following the failure of the fundraiser. When he exits the building the following day, he is met by reporters and television crews who are curious about his activities in Tulsa. Dwight's presence in Tulsa is exaggerated by the press and media. He is an unavoidable presence in the city, appearing on the front page of publications like the Tulsa Star-Journal. Cal Thresher calls Bill Bevilacqua as the spotlight is shining on him to let him know that the former Mafia capo is becoming more and more well-known in the community. Bevilacqua is a Missourian crime boss with his stronghold in Kansas City. Tulsa is a part of his illicit enterprise. Dwight's presence in his domain hasn't disturbed him since, up until now, The New Yorker's operations have been modest. Bevilacqua has no cause for fear regarding the newcomer to his domain because the former Mafia boss is concentrating on boosting sales at the higher plane and remodeling Bread 2 Buck in the first season. This situation is altered by Dwight's aspirations to establish energy facilities in order to grow his business. He'll have a great deal of authority that he may use for himself once they are established. Apart from the subsidies he can obtain, the energy created from the plants can be utilized to fuel huge weed farms, which can multiply his output multiple times. He will become one of the biggest, if not the biggest, marijuana producer in the area thanks to the increased output. When it comes to cannabis, he will be unseating Thresher, who is now the top of the game. Because of this, the businessman starts to worry about Dwight and looks for a way to undermine the New Yorker. It transpires that Bevilacqua is Thresher's possible ally. Knowing that Thresher has no interest in the criminal world, the gangster from Kansas City does not have to worry about him. With Dwight, though, such is not the case. He is the ultimate gaming expert, having served as a Mafia capo in the past.